The dust has settled on one of the most electric weekends of the college football season to this point in week 4. The committee, we say it every single week, they're going to get in their little tent, they'll talk about it, they'll unpack it, and they'll get to, their college football playoff rankings somewhere down the line. We're not going to wait for that. We're going to give you our college football playoff rankings as it stands today, Junior. First 2 out, top 4, all that in a bag of chips. We appreciate y'all being subscribed. Let's get right to it, man. At number 6, we got the Penn State Nittany Lions. They are up a spot from last week's rankings. And the thing with me with Penn State, man, they just throttled a ranked Iowa team. I understand they were dinged up. I understand they were missing some key pieces, was Iowa. But even so, to not even have it be really competitive and to see that offense go out and do what they did, for Penn State, we understand they're going to be judged by what happens against Michigan and against Ohio State, but you got to feel pretty good about where you stand doing what you did against Iowa. So a great sort of benchmark win, if you will, to tell us where they're at. For me, they're at number 6 right now in the college football playoff rankings for us. At number 5, we got Texas. Before we get to that, though, make sure you're subscribed. We talk college football every single day. A lot of y'all new to the channel, welcome. It's college football and only college football. No other agendas, nothing extra into this sport that we don't already love. What you love about Fall Saturdays happens here, happens every day. So thank you for that. At number 5, like I said, we got Texas. And Texas handled Baylor in McLean Stadium, night game, and that was a trickier spot that I think a lot of people want to give credit for. Because you say, oh, well, it's Baylor. Oh, well, they lost to Texas State. Hey, for Baylor, man, that was their Super Bowl. This was the last time they will get to play Texas for the foreseeable future. This was a Big 12 game for both teams. It's the last time it'll be a Big 12 game for Texas. Walked in there, handled that spot, took care of business. And so that's going to be the thing for Texas the rest of the way, especially in Big 12 play. Every single game they play will be the Super Bowl for the other Big 12 opponent. They're going to get everybody's best shot. Now, we understand they have the roster to run the table and get all the way to Jerry World and probably get to the college football playoff. But can they do it? Falls back on culture. We've said it here before. It's poetic. It's about culture for Texas because that's been the question for however long the last couple of years on the 40 acres. Now they've got the roster. There's no questioning that. They've got the quarterback. No questioning that. We saw it in Tuscaloosa. Can they walk the straight and narrow, keep the main thing, and reach their potential? I can't wait to see. But for us this week, they're at number 5. They handle business. I promise you, they will move up. Speaking of moving on up, man, the Ohio State Buckeyes up 2 spots. Gritty. Tell you, man, gritty. Top 10 win on the road in South Bend. Night game. Sam Hartman was wheeling and dealing for the Irish, but Kyle McCord. You talk about competitive excellence. Talk about having the chips being stacked and you got to make a play. 3rd and 19, zing, gets his team down to the 2-yard line. They end up finishing on the last play of the game, winning the game, does Ohio State. And Ryan Day talked that cash at the end of the game. He said, I would love to see where Lou Holtz is at right now, challenging our physical edge, talking about us, what we do in-house. I loved that from Ryan Day. I think that kind of edge from Ryan Day is now personified by his team. So the rest of the way for Ohio State, I'm curious to see how they look offensively because they can't score 17 points and expect to get to where they want to go. I think they'll get that sorted out. But to win in the way they did, if they can fight multiple styles like that and they can play the physical line of scrimmage game like they did against Notre Dame yesterday, when they get to the game against Penn State and Michigan, look out now. Ohio State for us this week at number 4. At number 3, down a spot, and we'll talk about why they're down a spot here in just a second. You got Michigan. Beat Rutgers. Wasn't super pretty. That's not why we have them at 3. For Michigan, the main thing is the main thing. If they win the games in November, they will be in the college football playoff. Obviously, all these teams control their own destiny at this point. But for Michigan, I think how they respond with Jim Harbaugh back now, it has an us against the world kind of feel, similar to what Ohio State felt yesterday against Notre Dame when Ryan Day talking that cash about Lou Holtz and about what people thought about them. I think the way that the whole Jim Harbaugh suspension went down, Michigan's taken that personally and made that some fuel. The way they're built to be a national title kind of team. So for them, just continuing to chop away, continue to climb the mountain. All the cliches you want to throw at it, throw it at Michigan. For us, they're 3 this week. And the reason they're 3 is not because Michigan did anything wrong. We're not docking them because of the Rutgers game necessarily. I just have them at 3 because Florida State, I think you have to put them in the top 2 right now. They have the 2 best wins, I think, on their resume of anybody in America. The win against LSU and the win yesterday in Clemson, South Carolina, in Death Valley. We got to be there. It was electric. That place was rocking. And Florida State did not have their best game. Ran for 22 yards and still found a way to get it done in overtime. It was gritty. Like I said about Ohio State, I feel the same way about Florida State. Gritty. Found a way to win a game where you didn't play your best, like I just said, and an opponent that, quite frankly, had the roster to beat you. It wasn't like they trotted out there against Boston College and just had better talent, and ultimately that rose to the occasion in the end. That was a good Clemson football team that's well coached, and if you didn't find a way to make those plays at the end of the game, it would have gone very differently this morning in where we ranked Florida State. So their resume speaks for itself. The receivers that they have, I don't know how you match up with them week in and week out. Once that run game gets back to how they expect it to be, and Jordan Travis, you would hope, gets back healthy, they're going to be a force. They're going to be a force regardless. So Florida State, for us, top 2 in the country, number 2 this week. Incredible response mechanism by them. Want to make sure I say that as well. At number 1, we got Georgia. Haven't seen enough to drop them. A lot of people are going to be critical of that first half against UAB. It is what it is, man. It's September. If anybody thinks they're not the number 1 team in the country, I would dare them to do it in their rankings. I think you'll see a lot of people keep Georgia at 1 because Kirby Smart's still the head coach. They're still the most talented roster probably in the country. And once that offense gets humming, and it was humming yesterday, I guess, scoring 49 points and Carson Beck throwing 3 touchdowns. Once Mike Bobo and Carson Beck are totally aligned and that pass game really gets to where it can be, I think all bets are off. So keep an eye on Georgia. It's not last year, Georgia. This is a new Georgia football team. They're still finding their footing. But for us, number 1 in the country. I have USC at 7, and it's nothing against USC. USC did nothing wrong to get dropped to 7. It's all about ball here, and quite frankly, we just haven't seen enough from them in terms of who they've played against to put them ahead of those other 6 teams. All 6 of those teams that we mentioned have played some more formidable competition. So USC's at 7. We're not down on the Trojans, not down on Caleb Williams, not down on Lincoln Riley. They're just at 7 this week. Expect them to move up, especially when they start playing better competition starting October 14th against Notre Dame. Heck, starting this upcoming week against Colorado. So that's our top 6. At 6, we got Penn State. 5, we got Texas. At 4, you got Ohio State. Big time win on the road in South Bend. At number 3, you got Michigan. Number 2, you got Florida State. Number 1, you got Georgia. Those are our college football playoff rankings as it stands right now. But make sure you're subscribed. Let me know in the comments section. Get at me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Piquel who you have in your top 6. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.